How are you, Coach?
I'm doing good, Rich. How you doing, man?
I'm better for talking to you. So I saw your. Let's get right to it. Let's just get right to it here, okay? Because I saw your tweet out there in the middle of the summer. Yep. I had a dream I was the Atlanta Falcons head coach, Dan. I had that dream, and I don't know what to do about it.
Were you in the championship game? Were you in the Super Bowl?
No.
What part of the season were you in?
No, and this might speak to my personality. It was just the grind of camp. It was the grind.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You're a grinder.
You know what I mean? It was the grind of camp. And
that's where a team's made, so it doesn't. I can see why you think that.
But I had no idea what I was doing.
Well,
I had no idea what I was doing at the time, and I had Jim Morrow, who I've known for years and years, and you know very well.
Yep.
He was kind of my consigliere in this dream.
Well, were you hustling?
Oh, please. I only know one speed. You know that. I mean,
that's where it starts, and if usually you show the hustle, everybody else is going to follow. And so I was glad that you were busting it.
But Moore is not a bad mentor, right? I mean, he is somebody that you've leaned on in your career.
I totally have. Yeah, Jim was actually him and Steve Mariucci were the guys that were able to get me into the league in San Francisco, and what a cool opportunity I had with the group that was there with Mooch and at the time Bill Walsh had still been there, Terry Donahue. There were some really good football guys, Rich, where when I got there it was like the best spot to be a young guy and just listen and absorb, and there were some really good mentors for me that have still come out of that staff.
What was Mooch like? Tell me. What's your favorite Mooch story?
My favorite one was like well, it'll take a second, but when I interviewed for the job, he said, hey, all right, I'll call you tomorrow, and I flew back to New York, and I remember waiting the whole day like, all right, he's going to call. Those days where you're just staring at the phone.
Sure.
Like, is he going to call? So I go home. I'm back at Hofstra. He doesn't call that day. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I tell my wife, Stacy, man, this is not going to happen. And then the phone rang, and he said, hey, this is Mooch. Is your wife there? And I'm like, I tried to hand her the phone. She's like, what the hell? Why does he want to talk to me?
Uh-huh.
And he said, hey, I want to let you know we're offering Dan a job. Just wanted to make sure, how thrilled we are to have you on board. I thought, like, that is him to a T of, like, class act,
Wow. So he broke the news to your wife before breaking it to you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's got game. He must have been pretty confident I was going to accept the job. Here I am at Hofstra, and like, you can take a job at the Niners. I don't know. Let me think about it. It's not that moment.
Go from the Flying Dutchman.
24 hours.
Yeah, right. I hear you. But no, because he tells me all the time. I'm with Dan Quinn, the Falcons head coach. The number of times that he and Gail, his wife, have packed because of changing jobs. He said it's well over 20 times that they have done that.
I think like 16.
Wow. So many people just forget about that part of the grind. And now here you are, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons in year 2. What did you learn that obviously everybody needs to figure out the job once they get into it?
Yep.
What did you learn on the job last year that you think will help for year 2 for you in Atlanta?
Yeah, for me, for sure, I had some really good coaches that I've been around, including Mooch and Nick Saban and Pete Carroll and Jim Moore, so guys who I'd learned a ton from. And then it still comes back. Hey, whatever you're doing, make sure it's in your own style and your own authentic way, and making sure that everyone on the team, coaches and players, have a really clear vision of how you want to play. And that's why I'm so excited to get this season rolling, because I feel like we are at that spot. Offensively, defensively, staff-wise, we're ready to let it rip. So that part, how we want to play our game together, that's really come in very crystal clear this offseason and training camp.
So what's Matt Ryan need to do for you guys, Dan? I mean, what do you need out of that quarterback spot? Even though he's a veteran and he's going to a spot that could have drafted him, they didn't this week. Atlanta versus Miami. It's always interesting, even in the preseason when he shows up down in South Florida. What does he need, Coach?
Really, just
to do this?
The biggest thing, we know he's going to attack, and just great decisions with the football. And he worked extremely hard this offseason. Rich, he was totally a guy on a mission, and you've seen when players go into that mode, or coaches to say, like, where you got something to prove. Matt was totally in that way, and he was the one that kind of set the pace for the off season in terms of how ready he was to get rocking. So for him, the ball was the biggest thing. Can we cut down, on our turnovers and just those decision-making, things that may have hindered us last year? He's been on point, from off season through camp, and I think just the second year in the system, he has a really full understanding of what he does best, and then we're going to feature it in every way. And
so, who is balling out right now that we're not talking about for your team that you're fired up to see on the field?
There's a guy
you're
not talking about named Tevin Coleman, who has big-time juice and speed. So he's one that really kind of came into the offseason another way of like, I got something to prove. I didn't perform as well as I was capable of as a rookie. That for sure was one. Defensively, we've got some new guys inside at linebacker, and I'm encouraged by them. There's a guy named Devondre Campbell who's a linebacker who's off to a great start. Dwight Freeney has been a good addition so far. We're going to really feature him on our third down stuff. But I think when I got on the phone, you guys were talking about him. Somebody just violated the first question right there.
Yeah, they did. We did. We were talking about that, with Freeney a couple weeks ago, saying, and I just looked at him like, come on, you're not going to sign before training camp ends. You don't want to get in the part of the grind. You're just going to wait till week one. But you got him right at the outset of this thing here. And what is he bringing to the table for you that you thought was maybe missing for your team?
Really, I wanted to add some pass rush, especially on third down, Rich. And that part of our game, I knew we could do better. We've got faster defensively, so we'll play faster. There's a whole nother year in the system, so 1,000 reps or two of game reps where the guys are playing in it. And then we wanted to add some speed, and we did that at linebacker and safety. So for him, I see him being part of our third down, our 2-minute package. We're going to play him at right end and just kind of feature him on the things that he's done best in his career, and go at it from there.
And I'm with Dan Quinn, Falcons head coach here on the Rich Eisen Show. You come from the Pete Carroll system as well, and nobody's more enthusiastic than Pete. Wears it on his sleeve and is running up and down the sideline, and you compete against somebody like that in Cam Newton every single year now. And last year, he was threatening everybody to just, hey, if you don't like my smile on my face, wipe it off. The Falcons were the first team to do it last year. And where do you stand on the subject of exuberance and passion and wearing it on your sleeve and daring someone to wipe it off? Where do you stand on that subject?
I stand fully in with it because, honestly, I feel like some of the, you can be a great competitor and not say a word and just be stoic, and then there's other great competitors that want to be out in front. So I think it's kind of what makes the game fun, Rich. There's so many different personalities, and whatever it is that gets you at your best, then I'm good with it. And I got a lot of respect for Cam. We've played against him, over the last, 3 or 4 years here, and I think the guy's a great competitor. You've seen his toughness at the end of games. All right, hey, it's on my shoulders, and we're going to go down and try and do something. Those are the competitors that totally jump out to me. And so, yeah, for me, on my end, I have no problem with a guy who has a lot of juice for playing. There was a great fight the other night in the UFC.
Oh, yeah?
And talk about grit and finish and toughness and passion. It was all on display. So I've always been, connected with those kind of competitors that just want to bring it at the highest level. Some have a lot of juice doing it, others don't. But the main thing is they're all great competitors.
Don't you think Conor McGregor would be a good shutdown corner, Dan? Like out there yelling at the receiver and just daring him and shutting it down? What do you think? Where would he fit on the field?
Yeah, I don't know if he's got enough length to maybe be a corner. Maybe we'll put him at safety. We can put him in the box and let him hit some people.
I like that. Do you think Usain Bolt could be a receiver in the NFL? What do you think of that? Just watching his size and his speed?
I think it'd be worth a shot. And if we could get, like, Usain Bolt and maybe LeBron James, like those two guys, and see if, well, we know LeBron can because he was, from what I heard, was a terrific player in high school. But I don't know. It'd be hard because everything has changed the direction, in our game. Not everything, but so much of it is.
Okay.
So I can't speak on that, but I can speak on, like, another guy who's a great competitor. Like, I was like, it was cool to see him do his thing again in the Olympics. Same with Phelps.
But I mean, Bolt on the 9 route. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Just send him. Just send him.
You better
Dan.
jam him. And have some confidence. I can hit him at the line.
Well, that's what you get McGregor. That's what you get McGregor for. See what I mean?
Yeah, he better really jam him.
If I made you the commissioner for the day, what rule would you change on the defensive side of the ball? What do you just stand there and just saying, you know what? I wish this wasn't in the rule book. Let's just get it the heck out of there and let's play. Do you have one?
I wish sometimes the PI. I think can be a really rough penalty defensively, where you're, like, an unsportsmanlike conduct is 15 yards and a defensive pass interference can be 40 yards. I don't sometimes see the equivalent. That's speaking as a guy who's played, been around a lot of defense.
So now, would you be up for having that as a challengeable play, though? Would you vote for that if you were at an owner's meeting?
I don't think it could be a challengeable one. I think there's some that just need to be played, and some are the interpretation of it. But if it was a 15-yard foul, I'd be up for that.
Okay. All right, Coach. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it out to be a coach with your team.
I was hoping you'd come down and be my consigliere.
Would you like me to? I would love to do that. But here's what you need to do, okay? Is call me on my house phone and have me put my wife on the phone. And
How about when we come out to L.A.?
Yeah, let's do this.
Can you come and hang with the team when we're out that way?
100%.
right.
What date is that? Do we have a date on that? Hold on.
No, it's in December.
Okay. Well, great. I'll be here. Let's do it. Now let's do
count
that.
on it. It'd be cool to connect with you guys and have you through.
Coach, thanks for the time. Really appreciate chatting.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Have a good one, man.
You got it. That is Coach Dan Quinn.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.